Welcome back to your coverage here at the European World Championship qualifiers here in Berlin for 2024. In front of me, I have our round 5 feature match duelists. We have Julian Evert and Silvio Nista, and they've already done their high roll. And Julian, you're going to go first? Okay, Julian is going to go first. I'm going to hand you guys over to Alberto, Nadir, and Basti, who are going to take you through our round 5 feature match.
Thank you so much, Ed. Round 5 indeed it is, after a pretty exciting round number 4 there with an upset victory in the end there for the Vanquish Soul Mimigol deck. We are going to have another deck that had some very recent support now in Infinite Forbidden on the featured match stage, but it originates a little longer ago, doesn't it, that we're about to see here?
Yeah, this one's going to be a little bit quicker, shall we say.
Yeah?
People keep complaining about a gimmick puppet monster.
Yeah, but it's one of your favorite monsters though, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, quite the matchup we've got here. Something a little bit different. It's
sure.
Tenpai versus Gimmick Puppets. Recent support in Infinite Forbidden. And yeah, I mean, this is going to be a going second deck versus a very much I want to go first deck.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
And I think the strategy is going well because basically Julian won the die roll and Silvio's going second. So I guess
Worked out for him nicely.
it worked out for both of them, I guess.
Yeah, whatever the result of the die roll would have been, it would have definitely come out that way, I'm pretty sure. But let's see now how the game actually is about to turn out. As the players are ready, let's go over to the table.
Welcome to game number 1 for round number 5. Julian on the Gimmick Puppet, Silvio on Tenpai Dragon. Always interesting to play a deck that wants to go second with the dice roll, isn't it? Because normally you always want to win that dice roll.
Yep.
And deep down you want to lose that dice roll.
Oh, and
That's
look
a
at
good
that.
start.
That is another part of his deck. It's not just purely Gimmick Puppet, but it's going to be Horus Gimmick Puppets. By using the Mseti there, he reveals that information to his opponent because he's also just discarded one of the Gimmick Puppet cards in his deck, and that was the Gimmick Puppet Bisque Doll.
Yeah, so Gimmick Puppet is quite a, I don't want to say similar, but there's a very similar field spell in the Mansion, which is the sort of protection effect that it offers in the same way that Sangan Summoning does. Kind of weird that that actually ended up working out that way, but here's one of the new ones. I believe this is Rogue Doll here, revealing to special summon and then sending. I think from here you said this Toy Soldier. Oh, it summons actually, wow. It's a Gimmick Puppet Circular.
Yeah, pretty much.
good.
They are brothers in crime for sure. And there is Little Soldiers, another card from Infinite Forbidden, just coming to the field. And interestingly enough, let's not forget, the discard for the Horus monster there for the Mseti was actually quite valuable because there is a graveyard effect going with the Gimmick Puppet Bisque Doll, which is a one-off in his deck, funnily enough. And you can just banish that card from your graveyard, and your opponent cannot target Gimmick Puppet monsters you control with card effects for the rest of the turn, actually. So that's huge if you want to protect against that. But so far, he has not even done that yet. He keeps on going with the cards he has available to him without going into the protection effect. There it is going to be, though, protecting from any targeting for the rest of this turn. And we already went up into our first Exceed monster. Another one of the new ones, because this is also implemented in Infinite Forbidden just very recently.
Yeah,
Take it away, what is it?
Yeah, this is Gimmick Puppet Fantasix, as you can see here from the artwork. It might look very familiar to those of you who are enjoying some Zexal. But yeah, it detaches to add a rank up magic spell from your deck to your hand, and then you can normal the machine during the main phase in addition to your normal that turn. And what you're going to do is get the, I think it's the Argent Chaos Force here, which is then going to go up into, I think, the new Gimmick Puppet here. This is a CXE Fantasix, I believe. Fanatics Machine X.
Yes, exactly.
And when it's special summon, it adds a puppet trap from deck to hand. I think the trap is a bit more of a bonus. Since,
you don't necessarily need it because we're trying to do things already on our first turn. But I mean, it's a good backup plan having the Service Puppet play there as well. But first of all, we're going to bring out another one of the new monsters. It's like really a decently big amount of support that came out in Infinite Forbidden. It's not just a couple of cards, but it's like multiple very impactful cards, really boosting the ceiling of a strategy, really giving them a lot more than they were able to do before.
So you can see here as well, what we did with the Fantasix here was we can special summon a monster to either side of the field.
Yep.
We put it on our field here, and then we can bring out the Horus. And this is going to allow you to go up into the Gimmick Puppet of Strings.
Yep, number 40 that is.
Yeah, so this places a string counter, and then we can use the effect of the Cattle Scream to revive itself, I think, to the opponent's field by detaching. Or I think we brought back the Cattle Scream from its own effect. Now we're going to use the Machinix to give the opponent the Cattle Scream. Now we're going to rank up.
Oh, but there is Nibiru, and Julian is giving a sigh there. He doesn't like that. He was pretty much being saved from all of the other interruptions his opponent could have had, but this is the Nibiru. We were saved from effect veilers, from impermanences, from all those kind of things, but not from that also powerful Nibiru.
I think it's really interesting as well that he held for the rank up magic specifically. So you activate to rank up, and then you tribute everything as Chainlink 2 for the Nibiru, and then because there's no more monster, you can't rank up, and then I think the Argent Chaos Force is maybe
not going to do anything.
I don't think there's any way to retrieve it and try it again, but yeah, I mean, this is one of like the roughest situations. Like you said, there's lots of ways to be targeting.
Yeah.
Nibiru, on the other hand, much more formidable.
Oh, but we keep on going at least. It's not over just yet, but that looks like, yeah, we will go on with our Horus engine. I mean, to be fair, we haven't even brought back the Happy. No, now the Happy is coming to the graveyard, but also we didn't bring back the Mseti just yet, did we?
I think we did, right? That's how we made the Gimmick Puppet of Strings.
Fair, yeah. You may be right.
So we have a still a body to bring back in the shape of Happy. But I'm very curious what you really do past this. But yeah, well, not much apparently. I'm going to set 2 and pass.
That was perfectly executed by Silvio. Apparently, he is aware of the matchup. Apparently, he has tested against that Gimmick Puppet deck, and he found the perfect spot to Nibiru his opponent there.
Oh, that's not good. Well, it's great for Silvio as we start our turn with a Sangan Summoning. All of our monsters are going to be unaffected for this main phase.
Yeah. Julian did not have the chance to find his mention of the Dreadful Dolt, his field spell, his version, as he said, of the Sangan Summoning, basically. But Sangan Summoning is the first card that Silvio can activate into his field spell zone. And I mean, he can casually discard Terraforming, as he already has the Sangan Summoning, of course. And there's Genroku, there's Chandra. There's more and more Fire Dragons coming onto the field, and Julian kind of doesn't have anything to do against it. Ooh. And that is always tough when your Tenpai opponent already starts Synchro Summoning in the main phase, you know? That's really, really not a good signal, because that means they already have so much stuff, and they could be able to go into the Transcendent Dragon tier, which would mean that they can't activate any cards in the battle phase, man. So they will be safe from that.
Yeah, it's really incredible that the Sangan Summoning offers you full protection during the main phase, and then when you go into the battle, okay, Ash Blossom here.
They can't use Ash Blossom though, as we're already in the battle phase now. So we played around that, perfectly executed by Silvio. Julian was quickly made aware by Silvio. Silvio's like, yeah, no, you can't really activate anything here right now, as I just summoned that Sangenpai Transcendent Dragon. I'm pretty sure the Nibiru token would also go into attack position because of the Transcendent Dragon, as that just turns everything into attack position on its summon.
Oh, is it on summon? Is it not on declaration?
Let me just double check that real quick. No, when you sync or summon it, yeah.
Oh, okay. Is it mandatory?
I'm pretty sure it is. Or wait, no, you can. So you don't have to.
So
fair enough.
That's a little bit of a misstep, I suppose. I don't think there's a reason you wouldn't put the Nibiru token in attack mode. Probably maybe because it's too big, I suppose. But all the all the Tenpai monsters do activate start at the damage step. We should have a way to clear this Nibiru token.
I would assume so. Tenpai really is not a deck that struggles with dealing with monsters in the battle phase. It's really what it's actually is so strong at.
Going to activate the effect to bring back the Genroku. Then activate the Genroku to tribute to special summon out of the deck here and get the last name, which is Pedra, for a search of just another bonus copy of Sangan Summoning. Sangan Kaiman, rather.
Yeah. But Silvio really one of the many duelist that is playing Tenpai here in this tournament this weekend.
Yeah, and first time on stream this weekend, but it's actually a pretty strong strategy, I think, alongside the sort of that anti-pick towards Snake Eye as we go into Curry Bell, I think it's called, right? On summon it pops a card.
Yep, it is. So it's actually the second time we saw it, but the first time it really didn't have that great of a showing against Diego Goncelli in round number 2, but this looks a lot better than the featured match we had in round 2 involving the Tenpai deck.
Yeah, this should just be going through the motions now,
Yeah.
like declaring the attacks. There's
Biden Dragon coming back, and that should seal the deal. 200 life points were left, and those are not available anymore as we have that final attack coming through. Game number 1 goes to Silvio and his Tenpai Dragon strategy. And honestly, I haven't really given up any pick for me to maybe win the tournament. And for me, not gonna lie, maybe a bit of a controversial pick, but it might be Tenpai in my eyes.
I mean, I agree with you. I think it's one of the, maybe the underdog of the tournament,
Yeah.
I would say, because like maybe it's not so expected compared to national season. And then you show up and then this happens, you know, and it's like an explosive deck. I think it's
Totally.
like, I think you have to fear it, honestly.
Absolutely.
The more you advance into the tournament, the more you should feel like some players being, you know, with a very high score. And we have to say, though, that Nibiru was, I think, the only card stopping, you know, Julian's strategy, because that was the only card, because otherwise I think we would have seen a complete different game.
For sure.
But on the other hand, still, I think that Tenpai it's very consistent. I mean, we have always said that with only one card, I mean, you can do everything and you can play a lot of hand traps. So, I mean, that's...
I think Tenpai is very specifically in a perfect spot in the meta. I don't think Tenpai wants to be the best deck. It wants to be sort of like on the peripheral, because it means everyone is main decking for Snake Eye, for Yubel, for the Fiendsmith engine in general, which means there isn't anything really being played to beat Tenpai. Even Labyrinth, you sometimes see people will occasionally tech in one threatening roar because you can search it with the lady. No one's doing anything to target Tenpai except in the side deck.
So I have a general feeling in the community right now here in Europe that people are kind of disregarding that deck, even though there's so many of them here in this tournament. So I think there might be a Tenpai player catching everyone off guard this weekend, and it may as well be Silvio, because that looked impressive right there.
Yeah, but as Alberto mentioned, the Gimmick Puppet strategy, very resilient to hand traps, even without the field spell, although the field spell does make things significantly easier. Nibiru, again, it's like almost the story versus any sort of rogue deck, right? It's like we saw from Heroes on stream earlier, lots of hand traps to play through, but Nibiru specifically is really tough.
Absolutely. So sometimes you would make your Tenpai opponent start because they can't really handle that situation. How about here? Do we just rely on our going first deck to be good going first again? Or is it just going to be a scenario where we do actually send the Tenpai player first? Alberto, your call. What are we expecting here?
Honestly, I will not take the risk and going second with a deck like this. I mean, I'll just go first, and then if he has Nibiru once again, I mean, he has it.
I mean, it's potentially the best deck in the room for going first scenarios, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Does he play anything like cross out maybe for the Nibiru? Because I think, like, you know, you're trying to do as much burn damage as possible, end the game on your first turn.
Yeah, there actually is cross out designator in this deck. Yeah, absolutely.
Does he have Nibiru as a target?
He
does,
well,
yeah. So specifically is trying to beat Nibiru. I guess you have statistically just as much opportunity to draw Nibiru as your opponent does for cross out. So yeah, I think in a specifically Gimmick Puppet, every other deck, maybe let Tenpai start. This deck, I think you want to go first.
Probably not.
It looks like our players are just about ready. Let's head on over to game number 2 and take this away.
And as I have the deck list of Julian here in front of me, you were mentioning the cross-out designators that are in there, but he took like one of the old school approaches. Oh, but there's Mulchami Perulia as the first card. And I was about to mention all the cross-out targets that Julian is running, and there is a one of Ashballs and one of Droll and Lockboard, a one of even Dimension Shifter in his side deck. But against Perulia, he has no answer, and that Perulia now resolved in the draw phase, and that is huge for Silvio.
I'm just trying to think about how many times you summon from the hand with Gimmick Puppet. With the new Bistol, I think you definitely do at least one.
Yeah.
Not really normal summoning too much unless you specifically draw.
Oh, look at that, with discarding the crossout designator. Honestly, that must mean he has another one, right? Because you don't give up that card just like that.
Yeah.
And you can see as well, maybe it's okay to give up if you drew the Nibiru, but I just saw in his deck he was fanning through there. He still has that one of Nibiru in his deck list.
Yeah.
So absolutely, you know, that's the one card you want to be protect from.
He must be holding another copy, I mean, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense, right?
Is that trap cards in his hand?
It's a skill drain, I think.
It looks like it.
It's okay, interesting backup plan, I suppose.
All right, we're sending the Infinite Impermanence. And I mean, sure, having Happy in the graveyard, having Emseti in the graveyard, summoning back from the graveyard seems quite appropriate when they're at the Perulia resolved.
Yeah, I mean, we still haven't actually gotten a draw yet, right? So far so good.
Oh, and I mean, what do you need the crossout designator for when there is a potential better version of it in your hand still? Because I think I spotted a little cop by the grave there.
Yep.
He didn't even... That's like, I think that's explaining to us how good Perulia is going to be against the Gimmick Puppet strategy when they decide not to even use Called by the Grave on the Perulia, because apparently it's not really that great, but Julian is just going to set 3 cards and is going to give it over with just that Fantastics Mechanics on the field. So over to Silvio and his Tenpai deck.
That's a big start here. Prosperity's not too bad. Lots of cards we could find off the top of the deck here. Lightning Storm, Duster. I mean, I don't know if you bring those in against Gimmick Puppet. Does anyone really expect to see Skill Drain potentially? Yeah, no, it's interesting because, you know, Tenpai is a deck, as you mentioned, plays so many hand traps, and you can side deck even more hand traps.
Yeah, just imagine that kind of Feather Duster and stuff like that coming down now. And I mean, technically, there would be Feather Duster and Lightning Storm in the side deck of Julian as well. So he could have sided those in as a crossout target too, if in that case there's one of them down there. But I would doubt it here, honestly.
Okay, no big blowouts as of yet, but we do have some Engine. There's also the Magnamut if we really like. Nibiru Imperm not really going to do too much here. Does just go for the Magnamut, so it looks like we've got enough and don't need the Sangan. I keep calling it Sangan something. Sangan Kaiman.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair, right? Our opponent doesn't have any engine at the moment anyway, so we can just get some monsters going, get that Magnamut onto the field, get another Dragon monster in the end phase, maybe Van step by step picking up additional Tenpai monsters through the Sangan Kaiman, of course, on top of that too. But there is the skill drain. The skill is being drained once more for the price of 1,000 life points. No more monster effects on the field will resolve.
And I think from this point onwards, it might just be a case, if we live this one, just summon big Horus monsters under skill drain. You know, I think we've kind of smoke screened into a bit of a stun strategy. What can we do under skill drain with Tenpai? Do we have any sort of realistic plays?
I mean, just summon out monsters that are big enough to go over, right?
Yeah, I'm just wondering long term, right? Like, you do summon something big, but then the King Sarcophagus is going to be really good at dealing with a big monster with our Horuses. Oh, that card is a pain.
Mean, if we get to Biden Dragon, go into the battle phase and bring back the Biden Dragon after 3 attacks, we can, in the process of that, just destroy one spell trap card on the field. So that could be the way. But do we even get to 3 attacks without triggering our Tenpai monsters to summon our more monsters? But no, good old Heretic Seal, of course, is technically a way to deal with the skill drain. But I think Julian has a really good way to deal with that then on the other end too.
Yeah, so I think the issue here is, just making sure that the, so Silvio realizing that you can actually search with Magnamut even though it leaves the field because it was declared on the summon. But yeah, Heretic Seal can deal with the skill drain, but the problem is as soon as you enter the battle phase, Seal's dealt with, you then bounce, you're just giving it back to the hand to then set. I guess you make them pay 1,000 more life points, but it's, I don't really see a way here, personally. Yeah. So you detach the cost of the Fantastics here just to get the Horus into the graveyard, which means that we can bring back the Happy, send another copy of Imseti, and then bring back Imseti. I think we only play 2 names, right?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
but so, Julian just quickly trying to get many big monsters onto the field. There's the Imseti back in town as well, switching that into attack position. And I think with that, he's already proceeding to go to the battle phase. And that may as well be, with those 3 monsters, enough to end this game.
Yeah, they're going to declare an attack with Fantastics first here.
Yeah, that one's kind of small, to be fair. It's only 1,500.
Yeah, I think you just use your smallest one first because the monster that Seals is going to bring out is going to be 0/0 anyway. And then it just means you get a little bit more bigger damage from the Happy and the Imseti.
Oh, but there is no way to actually withstand that. We are giving up that game, and that means Julian is going to equalize the score. 1-1 it is. The Gimmick Puppet strategy, not really doing any Gimmick Puppet thingies, but just bringing back some Horus monsters, but those were big enough to get with the skill drain to secure the win there.
Here's an interesting question. Tenpai wants to go second.
Yeah.
Gimmick Puppet really wants to go first.
Yeah.
Do you let Gimmick Puppet go first?
I was thinking about that, honestly. I mean, that would be brave, to be honest. But
absolutely.
But we do play like 20+ hand traps. Maybe it's enough.
Would you take the risk?
I know, that's the thing. It is really risky. But then again, your Tenpai turn 1 is really underwhelming.
Because as we said before, I think if there's a deck that really wants to go first, is this one. So it's like...
I mean, I can see one card being brought into the main deck from his side deck, though. That definitely helps him going
tell
first.
us about it.
And that would be Power Filter, a pretty old card actually making a comeback, and recently is being included in more and more side decks, mainly of Tenpai Dragon players. And that is just a continuous spell card saying Nista player can special summon monsters with 1,000 or less attack. Is it 1,000? Yeah, it is 1,000.
Okay. Yeah. Lots
and
of
trying to figure out
have 0 attack, right? So.
That's the thing, yeah. So, I mean, the Horus cards would still be very, very scary because you can just bring back these, and they are going to be big, as we were big here in the second game. But you could at least, like, diminish the power of the gimmick puppet part a little bit. But is that going to be enough, of course, is the question.
Well, I was actually looking at a different card. Any 2 dragons that can summon into seals, into an old-school Quackimero Drago.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's a very good one.
That will do the job totally.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a dark deck.
I don't know, guys. Honestly, I mean, sitting at the future match table, 1-1.
I think I'm with you. I think I'm with you. I think we go first. I think we see
Really?
Tenpai going first here.
Yeah?
You
Okay.
can't allow to go second against that deck.
I think you might be right, because I feel like I just saw him take out Mulcharmy from his deck.
There you
so
go.
Maybe
I mean, to be fair, it really did nothing there. So even going second, you may as well just not have
That's
it in
a
your
good
deck
point.
anymore. And funnily enough, Silvio does not only have that Quackimero Drago, he technically would have another option going first to be summoned out with that seal, which has been seen a rise in popularity lately as well. The good old Grand Tusk Dragon. Really, sometimes people were running this in Dragon Link, but now it is actually being played in Tenpai as well. And it's usually, though, a technology to be used in the mirror match. So you just, with the Heretic Seal, give the field spell back to the hand, and then when they have 2 monsters on the field, and then you destroy the 2 monsters with the Grand Tusk Dragon, and it's really tough in that spot to recover from that, honestly.
Yeah, so 3 disruptions potentially with the Grand Tusk Dragon. That could be quite nice. But again, it's like, it's so weird of a dynamic because if they have Mansion, then all of your cards kind of don't do anything. I think the Drago is definitely the safest option.
Yeah,
right?
I agree for sure. I agree. I think that is definitely tailored towards a couple other matchups, but I think we see the Tenpai going first strategy here. Even though, like, you could also argue to maybe play some cards like Rivalry of the Warlords and stuff like that, but he just went with a couple of other choices, which are pretty good, though. You just have to still realize that cards like Ash Blossom and Joy Spring and Called by the Grave and so on, those just counter that move so hard. So, like, you really rely on that Heretic Seal to resolve. Otherwise, you're kind of left with very, very, very little.
There's so many different variables, so many different options and ways this can go depending on how they side and whether or not they choose to go first and second. But it looks like our players are just about ready to get this one underway. A very short match, as I expected it would be. Game number 3 is underway right now.
All right, here they come. Who's going first? I think Silvio told Julian that he will be the one starting here. Yep, the Tenpai Dragon player is doing the unusual thing, but sometimes it is necessary in Game 3 scenarios that they are just going to go first here.
All right, well, that is a bold choice to choose to willingly go first in Tenpai. That is genuinely an adaptation that I think Silvio must have had to have done on the fly.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not sure how much practice he's had against Gimmick Puppet specifically. You know?
Game 1 looked good with the timing of the Nibiru. I think he totally knows what he's doing. I mean, he's 4-0 this tournament. I have total trust into Silvio. Not just winning this feature match potentially, but also just topping the entire tournament. I'm now a fan of him.
But not winning.
Officially. But I don't know. From there on, who knows? Who knows?
He didn't want to go too far. There's a Sangan Kaimen here being activated, and we'll see if we have the Heretic Seal strategy here. Discarding Droplet, as you notice.
Interestingly enough, right?
Your hand must be very good if you're discarding Droplet.
Totally. So that is Genroku coming to the field. New addition, of course, from Infinite Forbidden to the Tenpai Dragon strategy. Fadra is going to be able to bring back the Genroku. So we will be actually able to not only end on the Heretic Seal, but we will get something else on top of it. It may just be a lonely Fadra that is left on the field next to the Heretic Seal, though.
Do you think there's a world where you go like Seals summon a Tenpai, and then they're forced to attack at some point, then you're just summoning monsters during the battle phase?
Maybe.
Since we have a second Tenpai here.
You know what's also dangerous with the Heretic Seal? What if Dark Ruler just happens as the first... Oh, wait, no, Dark Ruler doesn't really help, right? Because they can still just summon out from the deck. So Dark Ruler doesn't even really help. But Julian's turn it is. We are going to once more use the effect of Imsadi here, discarding.
It's very good discard, actually. It's Cattle Scream again.
Oh, once more.
Now, I'm curious how Julian has sided here, because he might be like a little bit confused as to whether or not his opponent wants him to go first or second, but we can see that there's a Talents in the hand, which is really strong.
Oh, yes.
That's a hand of like 5 spells, actually. We've hard drawn the rank up magic. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. Sometimes... Oh, there is a mansion, though. That's really, really huge.
That's insane, actually.
See a lot of spells as well, so
Yeah.
it's this seems a very good hand.
Does he play anything like Photon Lord?
Let me double check.
Doesn't look like it.
I don't think it is. No, there is no
Yeah,
Photon
it's
Lord.
interesting that we play the Heratic engine. Sorry, Heratic. Wow, where's my head going? The Horus engine, but not actually doubling up with maybe some protection. You know, activate your Mseti, put 2 8s on the field, then summon the Toy Soldier. Perhaps there's a restriction there that I'm missing. But yeah, is actually going...
Early Hieratic Seal. Any response from Julian? Nope. Is it going to be a response on the summon effect? Not that either.
There it is.
And there is Vikoa Kimeru Drago being back into the center of attention. And Julian apparently will have to have a quick read about that. And he's not going to be happy when he finds out what that means to him here.
Yeah, no. Is there anything we can do about this? There's a Talents in the hand, which isn't live. I assume that must have been the battle phase. So we can't activate the Talents just yet. And main phase 2, we're just going to have to try and play without being able to summon dark monsters. Good luck.
Oh, okay. We're going to use the effect
Ghost
of King's
Ogre on the
Sarcophagus. Oh, my.
Wow.
But that now
Huge.
is going to enable the triple tactic Talents in his hand.
That's true, actually. Now we can activate Talents, but what can we actually do with the Talents? We have to draw into Imperm?
Or Raigeki. I see Raigeki in his side deck.
Okay,
We are going to draw into Raigeki. I have hope in that. There is Raigeki in there indeed.
Okay.
It's going to happen, trust me. Trust me. That will be the heart of the card moment for the bingo sheet. I'm telling you right now, okay? But first of all, we're going to eliminate a couple of other choices that they could be drawing here. And therefore, we start off with the activation of the field spell. We're going to go for the Mansion of the Dreadful Dolls first.
I'm not sure if I like using the mansion before drawing. I mean, I want to say you absolutely draw first. You need to find an answer here. Oh, that's huge.
Unexpected Cosmic Cyclone, I would say, from Silvio.
Yeah, shoutouts to Leonard.
Yeah, his favorite card once more being activated here. And the Mansion, of course, now banished.
All right.
And is there a glimmer of hope? Is there a card coming that helps to break this with the triple tactic Talents? At some point it will have to come down. There it is. And I'm pretty sure he just wants to draw.
That's an okay. Oh, he's
taking the Fadra. Is there a chance we weren't in the battle phase yet? I don't think we were in the battle phase yet.
Really?
Attacking the Kimeru Drago, and that all of a sudden is a chance for him to still do well in this game, because he will be able to, in main phase 2 now, just simply play the game.
This is... Why did we seals in main phase 1? The Horus Mseti wasn't really like threatening us, I feel. Wow, that's such a odd choice. But anyway, here we go. We're going to get Kato Scream out of the graveyard, and I think we're going to link summon into...
the Chimera Doll. There it is, using the effect of Chimera Doll as well.
Ooh,
there's the Forbidden Droplet. But is that the last card that Silvio has? It almost feels like it. It doesn't look like he has any cards in hand. He gave up the Sengen Summoning for that as well. So even though there is now the chance for Silvio to survive this turn as the battle phase is over, he doesn't have much left. But how much does a 10 by deck need? Like, if he just draws into a Pydra, if he just draws into a Fadra, that could be all he needs. And potentially that Fadra is going to just go back to him. He gets it back. What is the card that he's drawing for turn here, though? That could be so important. But Fadra now is a resource,
This is just enough, isn't it?
He can just use the effect of Fadra now as we're attacking with it.
Was there nothing we could have linked it away with?
Nope, there's only the Chimera Doll in his extra deck as a link monster.
So unfortunate.
Oh no, Pydra coming back. That's huge for Silvio.
This is looking really bad right now. Activate the effect of Pydra, start at the damage step, get a special summon out the... search out the summon it, Sangan Kaiman.
Still the summon effect of it. Now we're going to attack with the Pydra, and we're going to...
This is not looking good at all. No disruptions.
Julian doesn't like it, and I do know why.
Chandra is brought out now. A third declaration of attack has been made. Yeah, we just need to find the... on an open field, we don't really need the Biden destruction or anything.
Absolutely
just keep summoning, keep attacking, and then we synchro.
Another pie draw, and we are furiously writing down life point changes there, as the life points of Julian are drastically dropping here at the moment. One attack at a time, and that Tenpai deck is just able to do so many attacks at a time. Biden Dragon also attacking. Another
attack.
Another
GG.
one, and that is it. Silvio Nista defeating Julian and his gimmick puppets here with the Tenpai Dragon strategy. So we have a 5-0 Tenpai Dragon in the tournament still, and I'm pretty sure he's not the only one for the record right now.
Yeah, what do we think about that Seals use? I feel like that was maybe the big turning point.
Yeah.
I assumed it was the battle phase, because I don't know why you would use Seals
I mean,
on
I
an
think we
Incendio.
all thought that
Yeah,
it was the
for
battle
sure.
phase, because I mean, it would have made sense. Like in main phase 1, I don't really see a reason why you should activate it, and it might have cost him in the game, to be honest, because like you don't really know your opponent's extra deck, and like if there was another Link monster that he could have summoned, honestly,
That
we
could
would
have been
have witnessed
different, yeah.
something else.
Did we know what he drew for turn? It didn't matter at all, because you have
Yeah,
the...
I didn't see it.
Yeah, wow, it could have been a different story altogether, but
Yeah.
interesting dynamic, you know,
Yeah.
taking a bit of a risk, usually, I think, with Tenpai, to willingly choosing to go first.
Yeah.
Paid off for him. Yeah.
Do be on the lookout for those Tenpai decks. I'm telling you, they are coming at us this weekend. And yeah, I think another deck that, I don't know, what were your picks to win the tournament? I think you did like a prediction in the first round where I wasn't here just yet.
Yeah, I said Ritual Beast.
Oh yeah, I like that one too.
I'm waiting for Ritual Beast.
Yeah,
I
we're
say
probably
some
going to see one.
Runic variants, but I
Some
think
runic
it jinxed it.
variants.
So
Yeah.
it's, I
Oh,
don't
you
know.
changed it? Oh,
I don't know, I
you're allowed
jinxed
to
it
just change
because-
it?
You
Yeah.
jinxed
Oh,
it,
jinxed
okay.
it, okay.
Because like I talked to Vincenzo Rovino, like after round 2 it was 1-1. So
Yeah, not
But
doing
he-
too hot either. I think Josh
still-
lost his first round as well.
Yeah,
He's
but he
playing,
came back from that at least, so
Oh,
he
did
was
he?
winning from there on.
Okay,
So
alright,
he's still
good.
in business at the very least. So
Still possible, still
one at a
possible.
time.
also, of
Yeah.
course, the runic stun variants. I saw a couple of them doing pretty well at the top tables too, so that might be something to be on the lookout for as well. And I think, honestly, with so many, even though Fiends with Snake Eye is very, very likely, or what am I saying likely? It is the best deck right now out there, but still it might be coming down to how we prepared versus the other aspects of the format, because over 2,000 players, not all of them are going to bring Fiends from Snake Eye into the tournament, and I think you got to be prepared for the other matchups as well,
I think
and
it's time
most
for
likely
a-
the Tenpai deck, as I was saying.
Yeah, I think it could be time for a shifter deck of sorts,
Yeah.
right? Everyone,
Yeah.
you know, completely honing in on Snake Eye, has to be the best deck. Last weekend's results from the NAWCQ, everyone is prepared for Tenpai, for Snake Eye.
Snake Eye, yeah.
So maybe it's time for an anti-meta pick.
And I think we already saw that tendency in the playoff a little bit, because last weekend in the NAWCQ playoff, also 16 players entering, and the part of Snake Eye Fiendsmith decks was way bigger than this time
Than
in
in
our
Europe,
playoff,
yeah.
because we saw more Labyrinth decks entering, we
Saw
saw
Branded.
Tenpai, we saw Branded, we saw so much more diversity, and therefore I think that's going to transition into the main event as well, where we're going to, in the Top Cut, also see more of those different decks actually doing very well, in my opinion.
The thing is that, like, let's say around 10 Tenpais making into the top cut.
I'm calling more, but sure, go ahead.
Top 64, is it right?
Yeah.
No, but I think they have a chance.
Yeah.
That's what
For
I was
sure.
about to
Yeah,
say, because
totally.
like, I mean, in my opinion, like 10 to 15 maybe will be a good number. I will never like to play against one of them in the top 10
Same.
because you never know,
Same.
right? Like
It's just a scary deck. I think one of the hardest things about Tenpai is it feels like it takes a lot of agency away from you. You know, they kind of just drop their hand traps immediately as much as possible.
Yep.
And then that field spell as well, it feels like you just can't interact. So it's a
Totally.
terrifying deck.
But of course, then with approaching the top cut, you're also going to have to deal with the scenario if the opponents know what you're on,
Yeah.
so they will let you start more often.
Potentially,
But as
yeah.
we could just see, Silvio is very well at going first, even in a couple of games.
Yeah.
He just won a game going first, so let's hear it from Silvio and Ed with the winner's interview.
Thank you, Basti. Yes, I am here with Silvio, who's just won that round 5 feature match and is now 5-0. That was your first ever feature match as well.
It was my first time ever.
Nervous?
Yeah, I was shaking when I was holding the cards in my hands, but I think I managed it pretty well.
Well, you did do very well. You won. And also, you took an amazing gamble with the Tenpai deck in that last game by choosing to go first. So talk to us about that, because it paid off. I mean, you ended up winning, but the commentators were all very shocked that you chose to go first. But was that just to navigate Gimmick Puppet, basically?
The deck, if it goes first, does FTK. And I really fear the field spell because I can't toggle the field spell if I'm going second. And I really put all my faith in Quakimeru Dragon because all the monster of Gimmick Puppet, except from Terror Baby or Scissor Hands, are 0 attack or either level 8 or big levels, so he can summon them. And yeah, I've put all my trust in Quakimeru Dragon, and it repaid very well.
It certainly did. And Tenpai, talk to us about why you like Tenpai as a deck.
I really like Tenpai because it's a fast deck, and if I get the Synchro 10 on my board, I can easily do whatever I want, and I can OTK pretty easily. I like decks that go second, but sometimes can choose to go first, like this one. And I think it was a pretty good choice for this event because people are all prepared for Finsmith decks.
Yeah.
And I think it could be a surprise for someone.
Oh, certainly. And now let's talk about the other 4 games that you've played. Have you gone up against any of those Fiendsmith Snake Eyes yet?
Yeah.
I imagine so.
So first round, I was against Snake Eye Fiendsmith. Then I was against round 2, Magical Musketeer Fiendsmith.
Okay.
That made me go first, and I was shocked because I thought it was a mirror. Then round 3, I played against Jubel Fiendsmith. Then round 4, I played the mirror match, so Tenpai versus Tenpai, and then this round I played against Gimmick Puppet.
It sounds like you're navigating the meta very well with this deck, going up against all those Fiendsmith kind of decks like Jubel, the Fire one, a mirror match, and now go up against Gimmick Puppet, and you've come out on top in all of them. Are you feeling pretty confident for the rest of the tournament?
Yeah, I think I am. I hope so.
Well, congratulations, mate. Honestly,
Thank you
well
very
done.
much.
I hope the next rounds that are coming today, I think we still have 4 more rounds because we go to round 9 today. Best of luck with those next
Thank you
rounds.
very
I hope
much.
they go well for you. I'm sure at this rate, with this Tenpai rate that you're on, we'll probably be seeing you in the top cut. So fingers crossed. Best of luck. I hope it goes well. Guys, we're going to be talking about Silvio and Julian's game because I'm going to hand you over to Tom, who's got some analysis for you.
Thanks very much, Ed. Yeah, I'm just here to take you through some of the highlights from that game, or at least what were my favorite bits. So just one of the first things I wanted to show is just one of the new cards that makes Gimmick Puppet so powerful, and that's the Gimmick Puppet Beast Doll. So if we have a look here, you can see it on the card highlight there briefly. It's a card that you can banish from your graveyard, and that makes Gimmick Puppet monsters unaffected by any targeted effect, or they can't be targeted even for the rest of the turn. So he's going to banish it in a second or two, and like this is just a crazy powerful effect. The most powerful effects against the Fiendsmith Snake Eye decks are these effect negation, impermanence, effect veiler, ghost mourner, etc. So to have a card like this to stop you from being targeted turns off a lot of things. So we're just going to see it banished in a moment here, and this is just one of the things. If you're playing a deck where you want to execute a really powerful first turn combo, just like the Gimmick Puppet decks do, then here we go, we see it banishing from the graveyard there, preventing any targeting effects for the whole turn. However, there is one card that's very, very popular at the moment that's non-targeting. So if we move to the next clip here, there's that one possible answer to the non-targeting effect, and we see Silvio using it to maximum effect, waiting for that rank up magic, which making Julian commit an extra spell before using that Nibiru to just completely demolish him in a completely non-targeting way, which is, again, got to be that downside, but that's one of the things that Julian's got to have had in his brain before entering the tournament with a deck like this. And then the last little clip, I just wanted to highlight a nice play from Silvio here. So here we see this is the main phase, and you're protected from, your Tenpai Dragon monsters are protected by the field spell Sangan Summoning. Now in the battle phase, your opponent can interact with you. However, if you are able to summon a Transcendent Dragon in your main phase, then once you go to your battle phase, your opponent can't activate any card effects, so that leaves you protected from any effects for the whole turn, which is obviously like a pretty powerful combination of things to do. So that's the clips I wanted to highlight from game 1. So we saw that was just a nice win for Silvio there, summoning a couple of Tenpai Dragons, and we all know kind of the story once you get a few Tenpai Dragons and get to attack. So let's move on to game 2. There was only one very short clip I wanted to highlight on game 2, which was from Julian, and it's one of his side deck choices. Quite a popular side deck choice we're seeing here is the Skill Drain. So even though Julian's deck is a super powerful combo deck, it's very nice to have a couple of different options when you're going first, not just relying on your first turn combo because you know everyone else is going to be trying to stop that. So instead you just have this fallback plan. You know your monsters are bigger than your opponent's Tenpai monsters, which are super reliant on their monster effects to try and win the game. So we just side in that skill drain, and that game was a pretty short, sharp game 3 and game 2. So the game ended pretty quickly on the next turn with a concession from Silvio. And in game 3, there's this very important point I just wanted to highlight, like right at the beginning of the game, before it's even started, where Silvio chooses whether to go first or second. So I just grabbed it here. Obviously, it looks a little silly as this is a highlight reel to have some non-gameplay. But we see Silvio's got to choose whether to go first or second, and he chose to go first himself. So that's a big decision. Tenpai is a deck that's not really well known for its ability to go first. So choosing to go first is a bold thing to do, because you know you're against this Gimmick Puppet. They do quite a lot going first. So instead of risk maybe drawing that Nibiru, and if you don't have the Nibiru, then you're very vulnerable to the Bisque Doll, as I mentioned earlier. Instead, choose to go first and set up what you can. And a really popular card that the Tenpai deck can use when it's going first is what we're going to see in a second here from Silvio. And you can fetch it straight from your deck off the Hieratic Seal. So Hieratic Seal is a card you can make in Tenpai pretty easily. It just requires any 2 dragons, which all the Tenpai are. And then we see the Kwaku Miri Drago. This is an old school card, and it prevents monsters that are light or dark from being special summoned. So once you've got that on the field, your opponent, Gimmick Puppet, all of these monsters are dark. So that's pretty troubling. There is one good answer to it, which we're going to see. There was an attempt from Julian, and he was in fact able to get the Drago off the field with a judicious triple tactics talents here. So that seal was actually used during the main phase, which is again maybe didn't need to be done from Silvio because it opened him up to this talents here. So obviously we talk about talents quite a lot all weekend. Can you play around it? It's good to play around it if you can, and if you don't, then something like this can happen. Your opponent can steal your monster and attack over your Kwakumiri Drago. However, it was not enough. So even though the Drago got outed, as we see in the next clip, there was enough interruption from Silvio, and you know, even though Silvio had no cards left, he had just enough interruption. He just got that Fedra right back and top decks another Tenpai Dragon for turn and was able to close out the game in a pretty swift game 3. So even though a back and forth game, as Tenpai is known for, it was in fact a very fast match. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys enjoyed the highlight analysis that I just gave there, and we'll just hand back over to Ed to round it out.